Hey, Mike, at a time when 25% of the league is currently looking for a new head coach and teams struggle with their effort to, especially when it comes to taking a coordinator and projecting that coordinator is ready to be a head coach because it's such a different job. I think there are great head coaches in the NFL, and then there are everybody else. And the great head coaches have so much attention to detail. For example, the great head coaches will be aware of the Larry Fitzgerald habit and teach it to their players. They're always looking for anything that someone else does that works, and they'll steal it. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no copyright infringement in the NFL. No. You're constantly looking for something that someone else does that works, and you run it through your own personal filter, your preferences, your style. Could it work here? Yes or no? You're constantly doing it. You're consumed with that, constantly looking and looking and looking for ways to make your team better. And apparently this never hit Mike McCarthy's radar screen, or he never bothered to think this might be a good idea to tell my players when we're trying to run a 2-minute offense and the clock is ticking away. And second, Mike, here's next level stuff that I think the best coaches would have done. During that timeout, when the 49ers realized, maybe we should take a timeout here because we're not covering the sidelines and the Cowboys keep chipping it away. That's when, if you're Mike McCarthy, you find a way to subtly get to the umpire and tell him what's coming next. That happens. Umpires, officials, referees, they get told all the time, be on the lookout for something. You tell the umpire, you better be ready to get on your horse. Don't say, oh, bleep. Oh, he ran it. I can't believe he ran it. We're going to run it here. We're looking for you to get through and spot it. We're going to make a path for you to get through and spot. See, this just tells me. This wasn't on Mike McCarthy's radar screen. It's the kind of detail, if you want to take a playoff team and make it a Super Bowl winner, it's the kind of detail that you got to have as a head coach.
So, Mike McCarthy obviously is going to feel the brunt of this. And, I don't think he get fired over one play. But unfortunately, there's been a history with Mike McCarthy and clock management. It's just like Joe Judge. Joe Judge didn't get fired because he ran a quarterback sneak on 3rd and 9 off his old goal line. It was a culmination of things, and that may have been the straw. I don't know what's going to happen in Dallas with Mike McCarthy, but I'll say this, Mike, because I've said this consistently for as long as after being a player and then being on air. I don't put it all on the coach. These players are professional athletes, and they're supposed to know things as well. Now, would it be great that in that timeout, everything was discussed? See, I don't know what was discussed. Obviously, the play was, and you would think as part of it, what being discussed would be, get the ball to the rep, whatever. But obviously, the execution of it wasn't there. I don't know what was discussed, but I will not put all of it on Mike McCarthy, even though I know he's had issues with clock management and things like that. These are pro athletes who get paid and have been around a while. They need to know as well. They need to take some responsibility for this as well. So there's more than a few people that need to look in the mirror and say, yeah, you know what? That was partly on me.
Hey, and that's a fair comment because, look, it's not a one-man show. There are quarterbacks out there who will take charge in a situation like that, who understand the rules, who will insist that this is done correctly. Dak Prescott's got a vested interest in not wasting one of his opportunities to build a legacy as a winner. They've never made it past the divisional round with him. They haven't made it past the divisional round since 1995, for crying out loud. So, think of how a Peyton Manning would handle a situation like that. He's going to understand all the permutations and requirements and what needs to be done. And if they're practicing it, I guarantee you, if they're practicing that play, Mike, without an umpire there, he's going to say to the head coach, you know what, we should probably do this next time with somebody playing the role of umpire so we can factor that in too. Because guys need to get out of his way. We need to be thinking about that. It makes me think of what Tony Dungy said about Super Bowl 41 in Miami. Peyton Manning obsessed with the weather report, constantly saying to Coach Dungy, we need to be practicing with wet balls. It's going to rain. And Coach is like, Florida, it rains and it stops. It's no big deal. We'll be fine. And Peyton Manning kept on him and on him and on him until they did it, and it rained the whole damn game. So you're right. It's a total team. It is a team, even though the coach is in charge. You got other players with functioning brains who can contribute to the cause. And you need to be willing, especially for a play like that they've been holding in their pocket, that this is their plan. They're not going to run an 8-yard slant. I talked to people today. What do you do here? Others like, you're running in, and you get up the line and you spike it. You gain 8 yards, and you got time. 14 seconds is more than enough time to pull that off. If this is your play that you work on all the time, you better be damn sure it's ready to go. And that's what concerns me. Total team, they weren't ready to go.
It's the the most crucial part of this play, because you know you have the middle of the field. You know Dak's going to run free. If you ran a slant route, you know you're going to have a completion. The most crucial thing is, what do you do after you have the ball and hit the ground? Know when to hit the ground. Again, Dak ran too far. Know where your spot is, depending on the time that is left. Then the most important thing for all the other players is to get set, but give the ball to the official. Everybody knows you can't spot the ball. The official has to spot the ball. So if the official has to spot the ball, what do you need to do? Give him the damn ball. The play is not going anywhere until the official touches it. And everybody knows that. And they failed to execute that by putting it on the ground. So now the ref has to get through the line, touch the ball, reposition it, and you run out of time. Again, we're repeating ourselves now, but this is on the Cowboys. This is not on the officials.
But, Mike, there's been this not-so-subtle sense that the Cowboys are entitled to spot the ball on their own. That's not how it works. No. It's not the whole goal of the official. It's not some magical requirement that you've got to touch the ball. No, you take the ball and you put it in the right spot. That ball should have been back at the 26. Right. One of the things that slowed Dak Prescott down was the umpire tried to at least get it back in the direction of where it should have been, and it pushed everybody back. That was a half second that they lost there as well. But it was just a total failure. And look, here's the other side of it too. There's no guarantee they were going to score a touchdown there.
Well,
all they lost
was
what, a 7% chance? I don't know. And Mike, I said this earlier today. Beyond the fact that Dak Prescott should have gone down at the 30 to conserve time, I'd rather run that play from the 30 than the 25. At the 30, I don't think they can flood the end zone with defenders. At the 25, I think they can. At the 30, they got to be worried about somebody getting the ball short of the end zone, hook and ladder, sprinting in or whatever. I don't want the ball on the 25 if I'm taking one shot at the end zone. I want it on the 30.
Yeah, and this is all about your best odds, right? And there are those that thought the best odds were 2 shots from the 41-yard line. Maybe you get a pass interference call. Well, let me just remind you, you're not getting a pass interference call on a Hail Mary in the end zone. I mean, so you couldn't believe what's going to happen in there. They're not calling a damn thing. So that would happen twice, and you may get an interception. So I would have rather done what they did. But if they ran 2 plays, so be it. From the 41, I'd have been fine with it. But this play, again, is getting lost in the shuffle that it was on the officials. It was on the Cowboys. You could run a decent play from the 30, the 28-yard line to try and get one in the end zone, because you do have some tall receivers. It doesn't have to be just a ball lobbed up in the air. You can find a matchup or something that you want. But they didn't give themselves the opportunity. I know it was a small percentage, but a 7% chance is better than 0% chance, Mike, which is what they ended up with.
They got a great team on both sides of the ball, and they are, by all appearances, ready to go. Stephen Jones said today that Mike McCarthy absolutely will be back. I'm not a big fan of knee-jerk reactions either way. A knee-jerk reaction to say he's coming back or a knee-jerk reaction to say he's out. I think there's a deliberate process that needs to be followed. You look at the whole season. Is this coach taking us as far as he can? Can he take us farther? Is it time to elevate Kellen Moore? Is there someone else out there that is the person who is going to take us next level? I think these are all fair things they need to ask, and I'm not advocating for the guy to be fired.
Right.
I just think it's fair to have an objective assessment of 2 years of Mike McCarthy. Is the team where they expect it to be based upon the talent that the Jones family, with assistance from others in the front office, have amassed?
Yeah, you just have to, the one thing I say you be careful of is how much do you change, because, unless you elevate Kellen Moore and keep the same system, I've said this over and over again, you change a head coach, you change coordinators, you change position coaches, you're changing everything. The way coaches coach their position, the style you're running on offense and defense, and the head coach mentality. So, and there's a lot of talent. We know there's a ton of talent on paper on this team. It's a reason the game's not played on paper, but they have talent to win right now. So that would be the one thing I might be wary of, is changing the offensive and defensive system.
Yeah, I agree with you there. It may change anyway, though, if Dan Quinn gets a head coaching job and Kellen Moore goes somewhere else. I think that's one thing Jerry Jones is concerned about, losing Kellen Moore, and maybe they strike a deal where Moore hangs around until Mike McCarthy is gone, either by choice or not by choice.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.